This is what we're making, a hollow tapered cuff bracelet. The metal we're using for this piece is 0.7 thick, 20 millimeters wide, tapering to 10 millimeters at the end. Now I'm going to anneal this, put a pattern in it with my hammer, and then anneal it again, and we'll form it. You don't have to put a pattern in this. I'm just doing this because I want to, but the procedure is the same whether it has a pattern in it or not. Annealed metal. So I have my pattern, it's annealed. Put your hallmark in what's going to be the inside. Now I'm using a French jeweler's hammer for this. This is a small curve and it's polished, and I'm using this because I want to form the metal into a pretty tight U, and if we use the plastic hammer it won't make as tight a curve as I want. So I'm going to go on the bigger part of the sinusoidal stake, form it, and then I'll go to the smaller part and form it some more. So hit in the middle of your metal and slowly take your time and get the curve you want. You may have to hammer it off to the side a bit. So just do a little bit at a time. Make sure you have the curve you want, and when the metal doesn't move anymore, anneal it. Now when you get this much of your curve, shift the metal so that you're hammering between the middle and the edge, then turn it around and do the same thing. It's just so that we get a steeper curve. In the middle. Anneal, shift to the smaller curve, the smallest curve, and do it again. And you may find that you need to hold the ends together as you're hammering it to keep it from opening up. Now when you get a well-defined U, which means a fairly sharp U, what we're going to do is put this sideways on our little bench anvil, and I'm using the flat side of the jeweler's hammer. Could be a planishing hammer, a ball peen that you've polished up, pretty much anything, and it's just to start forming these edges down a little bit. And be sure you hold the bracelet together, because as you do this, it's going to want to open right up. So as you can see, I've closed it right up, but hammering it sideways, it opened up. So what I did was I annealed it, and then I'm just going to use my hand, and I'm going to push it around the bracelet mandrel, and you have to be really careful doing this because it'll want to flatten out your metal. So you can push it a bit, hammer it on the side where it's flattened it out a bit, push it a bit more, and you will eventually get the piece you want. So work just a little bit at a time, don't crimp the metal. So now you can see I've got my hollow cuff tapered, that I've managed to close it right up. It's a little bit irregular, but I'm pretty happy with it. So you just need to keep working a little bit at a time. As you curve it and it starts to flatten a little bit, stop, anneal it, tap it on the side to get your curve back, and you'll eventually get there.